Namaste. Welcome to this short course on Ayurveda. I am Dr. Sanjay Pisharodi. I am a healer with mixed qualifications in the Western system of medicine as well as the traditional and alternative systems. I started my journey as a palliative oncologist, that is the modern Western system of education. Further, I went on to train in Chinese acupuncture, Korean acupuncture, a diploma in yoga and naturopathy, and then into Ayurveda. So therefore, this has helped me to get a complete perspective, to understand the human body from different angles, different perspectives, different systems of medicine. So that gives me a complete picture of what is actually going on in the human body. Today we will be talking more about Ayurveda and the fundamental principles and practices and how these practices can help us in our daily lives. This special course has been put together by Kerala Ayurveda and Ayusante, and it's my great pleasure to be part of this wonderful course, to share this knowledge with all of you. I'll now give you a brief overview of what this course is all about. We'll start with discussing the history, the origin of Ayurveda, how it is, the current scenario, and some of the limitations and the advantages. And we will compare it with the present medical system that is existing in the world today. We go on to understand the fundamental principles, what make up this medical system, and then how to apply this in routines, in daily life, and the seasonal routines, the daily routines of Ayurveda that are described as part of this age-old tradition. Then we will go on to discuss about the details of nutrition, what to eat, when to eat, how to eat, and so on, and how Ayurveda views diseases, imbalances in the body, how following a wrong diet and lifestyle leads to different kinds of diseases. Then we will take a look at rejuvenation, what are the different curative methods in Ayurveda, and then finally we will see how to go ahead from here, how to take this science of Ayurveda into the future. So let us begin with an introduction. Thank you for choosing to participate in this course, and I hope that you will have a wonderful experience learning about Ayurveda. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namami Dhanvantari Madidevam Surasureir Vandita Pada Padmam Loke Jararuk Bhayamrityunasham Dhataramisham Vividhaushadhinam. I offer my respects to my Guru, who has opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I also offer my obeisances unto Lord Dhanvantari, who is the Lord of Ayurveda, who has revealed Ayurveda to the world for the benefit of all living beings, and who is the maintainer and sustainer of all the Ayurvedic medicines and therapies. Ayurveda has been around for thousands of years now. According to modern historians, it's at least 3,500 to 4,000 years old. And according to the Vedic historians, it goes far back to the beginning of creation. Ayurveda has been rising and submerging in the oceans of time. As time passed, there were times when Ayurveda became very prominent in the world, and there were times when it was more subdued, had to take a lower position, had to be practiced under the covers. So we find that in history there are times when some of this knowledge of Ayurveda was destroyed, much of it was lost in due course of time, but whatever remains itself is such a vast body of knowledge that can be used effectively to improve the health of the people of the world. So what is the objective of this course that we are doing? Ayurveda has been kind of narrowed down to a therapeutic option, just like how modern medicine is practiced. The objective of this course is to bring about a general awareness among all the people about the scope of Ayurveda, that Ayurveda is not just about taking treatment for diseases, but Ayurveda is more a way of life. It is a way of thinking, a way of living, a way of eating, sleeping, all our daily routines and activities, how to modulate them in such a way that we can achieve optimum balance in our life, optimum effectivity in our work, and a preventive method by which we do not have to fall sick at all. So this is the primary objective of this course, to empower each one of you to take responsibility for your health. When we look into the health systems of the present day, we find that it's more a dependent kind of a paternalistic method, where give your health or your life in the hands of the doctor, and the doctor tells you what to do, the doctor decides what is to be done. But here is a method, using Ayurveda, you are being educated into making the choices in your life on your own. That is the major difference, which is now evolving in the modern system as well, in the form of a participative type of health system, where the physician as well as the patient, or each one of us, has an equally important role in deciding what is good for us, what is bad for us on a daily, day-to-day basis. So that is what we want to achieve from this course, to educate, and through this education to empower each one of you to be able to make that choices on your own. And in the process of this education, this course wants to make it very relevant to each one of you, as well as practical and very simple, not too complicated. These practices of Ayurveda can be adopted in our lives in a very simple way, and also to make it very authentic. That means that I am not trying to tell you something of my own. It has already been given in the age-old, thousands of years old tradition in Ayurveda. All I am doing is to just take it from there and present it to you in a relevant, simple, practical manner. Let us take a look at the definition of the word Ayurveda. What does it mean? Fundamentally, the word Ayurveda is derived from two separate Sanskrit words. One is Ayu and the other is Veda. The word Ayu is being translated commonly as life, but it has a more deeper understanding. The word Ayu derives from a word that means something which is continuously flowing. It is a continuum. That's the difference between how modern medicine views life and Ayurveda views life. The Vedic concept says that life is not a beginning and an end. It is in fact a circle, a continuum that keeps coming back again and again. We are moving in a cyclical fashion. In the modern system, life begins at birth and ends at death. This is the fundamental difference between the Vedic concept and the modern concept. In the Vedic system, it is a continuous flow. It is a cyclical flow where we keep coming back again and again in different forms, in different ways, experiencing life in different methods. So that is the fundamental meaning of Ayu, which means life as a continuum. The second word is Veda. Veda means knowledge. Knowledge, or all that is there to be known, anything that is there to be known. It is all encompassing. With means to know, Veda means that which is to be known, which is knowledge. So the word Ayurveda will translate as the knowledge of life. This knowledge of Ayurveda is not some kind of theoretical knowledge or dead knowledge. It is a living knowledge. Ayurveda is a living knowledge which has been tested over hundreds and thousands of years, and it has transformed itself into a realized type of knowledge which is called as a wisdom. It is a wisdom of life. It is very rich, enriched with experiences of many accomplished scholars and physicians and people who have lived this over thousands of years and transformed it into an effective, time-tested practice in life. Now, what is the purpose of Ayurveda? We have already discussed what is the purpose of this course. If we look at what is the purpose of Ayurveda, you will find that there is a direct alignment between the two. Ayurveda says there are two purposes to Ayurveda. The first is Swasthasya Swasthya Rakshanam. What does that mean? Swastha means one who is healthy. So the first purpose is to Rakshana, or that means to protect or to preserve the health of the healthy people. That is a preventive aspect of Ayurveda. And second is Aturasya Vikara Prashamanam. Atura means one who is diseased. So to cure the disease of the diseased person is the second purpose or objective of Ayurveda. So there are two purposes. First is the preventive aspect, to preserve the health of the healthy person, and the second is the curative aspect, which is to cure the disease of the diseased person. In this particular course, we are focusing more on the first part. Of course, we are all familiar with the second part, where Ayurveda is very popular as an alternative curative method. But there is another huge part of Ayurveda which lies covered, which is lying unexposed. So we want to take this opportunity to bring this vast knowledge of preventive Ayurveda to each one of you. If you look at our country today, in India, the statistics show that there is one doctor available for about 1700 people. Now you can imagine, can one doctor take care of such a large number of people? Practically, it is impossible. And this difference, this wide difference, this ratio is growing day by day. So it is obvious that it is impossible to have a healthy country where the people are completely depending on the doctors to take care of their health. Unless people learn to take responsibility and people are empowered to take care of their own health, it is never possible to have or achieve total health in this country. The World Health Organization in the year 2000 had a slogan. It said, "Health for all by 2080. It was in 1990, the slogan was there. But 2000 has come and gone. We have now come into 2014, but still we know that that particular goal of the WHO, the World Health Organization, is far from being achieved. It is too idealistic using such a system. So that obviously tells us that we need a different system. We need a different approach to health. So that is what Ayurveda is providing us. It's interesting to note technique, a method that was practiced in ancient India with regard to the maintaining of health of the people. In this regard, it is quite interesting to note a certain practice that was prevalent in ancient India. Whenever someone would become Vaidya or an Ayurvedic physician, they would approach the king of that land, and the king would assign them a certain area in the country which they were supposed to take care of. They were responsible for the health of the people of that particular area. And the difference was, this physician would be paid a monthly salary by the king for maintaining the health of the people of that particular area. And anytime someone from that area would fall sick, or there is some kind of epidemic or thing happening in that area, this would result in reduction of the payment of this physician. So you can see that the earning of the physician, the prosperity of the physician was directly connected to the prosperity or the health of the people. As opposed to that, today's system we see is there are many big hospitals and a health system which basically thrives on, so the more the number of patients, the more income comes into the health industry. So this health industry which thrives on the sickness of people cannot actually be a solution to bring about sustainable solutions in the health of the people. We also see that the cost of healthcare is rising day by day. Governments and individuals alike are finding it difficult to keep up with this kind of rising cost. Today, practically speaking, a person is scared to actually go into a hospital or to see a doctor. When you go to see a doctor, what do you expect? The doctor is going to write a whole array of tests for you, many scans and blood tests and so on, which are becoming more and more expensive day by day. So there is always a chance that you could be prescribed certain medicines which you might end up taking for the rest of your life. So you could end up in a situation where you are prescribed certain medicines which you would need to take for the rest of your life. And that's not a very wonderful proposition. So today the common man is faced with this dilemma: what to do, what not to do. Let us take a look into the problems with respect to wellness in our society. We know that with the advancement of science, technology is improving. There are newer and newer techniques of diagnosing diseases, better and better scans, better and better blood tests, tumor markers and so on. But what is actually happening to the wellness of the society? Are the number of sick people coming down? Are the number of diseases coming down? Unfortunately, the answer is no. The number of diseases are not coming down. The opposite is happening. We have more and more sick people in society today. Newer and newer diseases are emerging. Many diseases which were not so commonly found in the past. The number of heart diseases are rising. The number of diabetes cases are rising. The number of obesity cases are rising. Cancers and many incurable health conditions are becoming rampant in the world today. With the advancement of technology, have we seen a decrease in the number of diseases in the world? Unfortunately, the answer is no. In fact, the opposite has happened. The number of diseases, the number of sick people are increasing day by day. When we look at the statistics, we find that the number of heart diseases are increasing, the number of cancers are increasing, the number of obesity cases, diabetes, so many incurable diseases which were not prevalent in the past have become very prominent today. So the question remains, are we making any progress or are we going down? Are we regressing? Are we creating a situation which is detrimental to the society, to the health of the society today? So that is the question. More and more number of hospitals are cropping up. More and more surgeries are taking place. Heart surgeries, knee replacement surgeries. What does that tell us? Does that tell us that the health of the people is improving day by day? Or does it tell us that we are creating a system where we have more and more sick people, therefore we need to do more and more surgeries, more and more replacement of organs and so on? I am not saying that this is bad, but what I am trying to say is that there is another approach, a preventive approach, where we can empower each and every person to prevent these kind of illnesses from becoming rampant in the society, and that is what we are trying to do. Obviously, there are many wonderful things that the modern system has offered us. For example, if we look at the modern system, we have better technologies to diagnose diseases, better facilities, better organization. There is evidence-based medicine where everything is properly recorded. So these are some of the wonderful advantages of modern medicine. There are better techniques of surgery. There is better management of emergency situations, emergency medicine, the intensive care units. These are really wonderful advancements in modern medicine. At the same time, we cannot deny that there are some limitations also. What are these limitations? We see a rise in stress-related conditions. We see a rise in chronic degenerative conditions, metabolic disorders. So these kind of disorders which are becoming more and more rampant in society, mental illnesses, depressive cases, which modern medicine has no clue about what to do. So this is where Ayurveda and other systems of medicine can actually begin to contribute. And using these techniques by integrating with modern medicine, sincerely feel that this can Ayurveda can create a great revolution, a great improvement in dealing with these kind of chronic degenerative conditions and so on. And an integration would be the best way how people can get the best of both the different systems of medicine.
Namaste. I am Dr. Jayarajan Kodikanath. I am the Academy Director of Kerala Ayurveda in the US. I have been an Ayurveda practitioner for more than 15 years. And I was in Bangalore, Ayurveda Gram, as the Chief Medical Officer for more than 10 years before moving to the US. It is very exciting and heartening to see a lot of people getting into the Ayurvedic way of life and understanding the holistic approach to bring sustainable natural solutions for current day health problems. The entire world is looking for an authentic system, a time-tested system, a natural system which can bring sustainable solutions, especially the lifestyle disorders. The number of obese cases, diabetes, cholesterol, various mental problems, it is increasing day by day. With all the advancement of science and technology, the medical systems, still the health problems are increasing. The number of diseases, the chronic diseases are increasing day by day. So globally, when you see in last decade, there is a very clear shift from the chemical, synthetic, refined approach to more holistic, natural approach of life. And this is the time we need to bring the right information about the authentic Ayurvedic practices. So I am here to discuss with you some of the key principles of Ayurveda and how simple it is, how comprehensive it is, how natural it is. Ayu kameya manena. About the definition of Ayurveda itself, it is for the maintenance of happy, healthy, peaceful, harmonious life. This need to get into the people. This is not for practitioners. Ayurveda, if it is for the maintenance of healthy life, this need to get into the entire mankind. A system which is codified, a system which is developed over thousands and thousands of years through the experience of humanity. And the mother of all the healing systems. When you see the history of Ayurveda, you can go back thousands of years. Maybe, 10,000 years, 5,000 years of an oral tradition, and, after that in different scriptures. And there is very clear codified Ayurvedic system of healthcare available from the Vedas. And the Vedic period is actually it goes beyond 1500 BC. You are talking about more than 3,500 years for a codified complete text to see on Ayurveda. So it's a system which has already gone through all the tests of the time, proven for its efficacy, for its safety, and for its purity, as well as the holism, taking care of the entire being with physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects of life. I'm very excited to share this information with you. And we will make sure that we are giving you the information to definitely prevent the possible health problems, and also to see, in your kitchen, around you, in your garden, in your backyard. I would say, maybe 75% of your health you'll be able to restore or maintain just those simple methodologies. The proper usage of food and routines. Some simple tips about the daily routines. A little bit of yoga a day, a little bit 5 to 10 minutes of meditation a day. Using the spices in the kitchen. Some of the herbs available in your garden. So let us go through this. And thank you so much for joining me today on this Ayurvedic living session. Namaste. Ayurveda, the origin. Ayurveda, the mother of all healing systems. From the ancient India, with a history of thousands of years. When you go deeper into the historical aspect of it, you will realize that it is going much beyond what we have known about the various civilizations of humans. There is clear evidence about the development of Ayurveda from the Vedic period. That means 500 BC to 1500 BC, moving up to the 2000 BC. Well codified scriptures, the Vedic scriptures, and the currently available Ayurvedic text, the oldest text available, the complete one is Sushruta Samhita, which is believed to be written in between 1000 BC and 1500 BC. And this is about a well codified, complete text. The history goes much before that, and with an initial oral tradition of maybe 5,000 years or more. So you are talking about almost 10,000 years of history. That means it is much before all the religions, much before all the known healing systems. And all the known religions are, it is much after the known history of Ayurveda. So it is from one of the most ancient roots. It's all about the nature, how we synchronize with the nature, and the unisons, understanding and identifying that there is no difference between me and something else in this world. Everything is the same. The source is the same, the root is the same. The ingredient is the same, the energy is the same. And we are, all the human beings, animals, plants, carry the same energy, the same material. And the oneness, that is the key message from this ancient life science. It's a kind of recycling. Lot of generations came to this earth, human beings, animals and plants. Where are they? Our forefathers, where are they? They went back to earth. They disintegrated, degenerated and gone back to earth. Now we are the current generation, well aware that in few years, we don't know how many years exactly, but we all will go one day. We'll go back to the earth and our next generation will come. And it is true in the case of trees. Trees are falling and degenerating, new trees are growing. Animals, birds, every beings. It is very clear that it is a constant, continuous recycling going on. The same material is getting recycled in different forms, different areas, and different times. We are all the same. There is no difference. This is the fundamental concept from this, the most ancient life science. And lot of evolutions. And from the Vedic period onwards, when you go deeper into the history, you can realize that Ayurveda has gone into a constant, transformation process. At some point of time, due to invasion of Buddhism, cutting of human body considered as a sin. And what happened? A very prominent branch of Ayurveda called Shalya Tantra, the Ayurvedic surgery and parasurgical methods, one of the most prominent branch of Ayurveda, became gradually, because of the Buddhism, the practice has gone down. There were nobody to update the technology of the Ayurvedic surgical practices, which was prominent at that time. Almost half of the Sushruta Samhita, Sushruta was the first surgeon in this world. We are talking about, 1000 BC or, somewhere before 1500 BC. Father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, is 240 BC. We are talking about almost, at least 750 to 1000 years before the father of modern medicine. And 50% of that text is about various surgery and parasurgical methods and information connected to the surgical, healthcare. Transplantation, processes, intestinal surgery, eye surgery. Then what happened to that? Due to invasion of Buddhism, cutting of human body considered as a sin, and there were nobody to update the technology of Sushruta. For example, at that time, Sushruta was using a particular type of ant to suture the surgical incisions. And we cannot use that technology now. I cannot go and search for the ants to suture the surgical incisions, right? So a lot of, changes happened through the history. Then, of course, the invasions in India, lot of invasions. The British, the Mughal, lot of invasions. Whoever came to India, they brought their system. And you can, read the history of demolishing a lot of, the libraries and this kind of, Ayurvedic institutions. And those who came to India, invaded India, brought their system and pushed to the communities, to the societies of India. So a lot of mixing up and contamination happened. But in the southern end, on the western coast, the small state Kerala, held its tradition intact, because Kerala was never completely invaded. Even the kings of that time, they were very particular about keeping their traditions, their rituals, their practices, while even, ready to do the business with the others. That kept the root of Ayurveda intact in the Kerala lineage of Ayurvedic practice. Now Ayurveda is globally known, and Kerala became, known as the root of authentic Ayurveda. When you read the books, you can see that the Sushruta, or even Agnivesha, Bharadwaja, the first conclave of Ayurvedic specialists and practitioners happened in Himalayas. It's at the northern end of India.
So you've just heard about the history of Ayurveda, how Ayurveda has evolved over a period of time, how it has survived, and not just survived but actually grown, enhanced itself through all the ravages of time, the onslaughts of different empires coming in, colonialism, and all these different things that happened. So we also heard about the Kerala tradition of Ayurveda, which was relatively untouched by these different invasions and so on. Now, what is the current scenario of Ayurveda? What is happening right now? Let's take a look at that. When you talk about the current scenario, you can divide it into two parts. One is what is happening within the country, that is, or the Indian subcontinent, and the second is what is happening on the international scene. As we discussed earlier, Ayurveda has a preventive aspect and a curative aspect. If you look largely in India or the Indian subcontinent, you will find that Ayurveda is more practiced as a full-fledged medical system, more as a curative option, and not much as a preventive option. But if you look on the international scene, Ayurveda is seen more as a system of holistic wellness, a preventive system, a balancing system by people all over the world. So this is a fundamental difference between how Ayurveda is being practiced within the country and outside. Now, there are a few other things which we can look at. If you look at what is happening within the country, we find that there are many changes happening. Ayurveda, which was traditionally being taught in Gurukula system in certain selected families and so on, has now moved on to more organized colleges, organized system of education. Under the department of, under the health ministry, there is a department called Ayush, which is dealing with the systematic propagation of the science of Ayurveda, and systematic courses well in line with what is the different courses of modern medicine have also come into being since independence. And this is also being regulated by another body called the CCIM, which is the Central Council of Indian Medicine. And in order to achieve this, different people are elected from different states, and this council basically has decides the affiliation and the standards by which Ayurveda is being taught in the country. In addition to all that, we also see a lot of curative Ayurvedic clinics or Panchakarma clinics mushrooming all over the country. An inflow of hundreds and thousands of tourists, almost 1 million tourists are visiting the state of Kerala alone to receive Ayurvedic treatments and rejuvenation therapies. So this is increasing day by day, and it is bringing great amount of revenue into the country. There is also a huge exodus of export of Ayurvedic medicines that is going on from India to various parts of the world. So these are the different things that are happening within the country. And if you look at what is happening internationally, the popularity of Ayurveda has become possible mainly due to the fact that the popularity of Ayurveda has been mainly due to the fact of people practicing yoga. Yoga has traveled all over the world since the 1970s with the help of people like B.K.S. Iyengar and others, and it has become quite popular in the world today. Now, people who are practicing yoga, as they make further progress, they begin to understand that there are other systems in the Vedic fold, within the Vedic fold, which also complement the practice of yoga in many wonderful constructive ways. And one of these sciences is Ayurveda. Ayurveda, which is the healing part of the Vedic tradition, and yoga is mainly a spiritual part of the yogic tradition. So as yoga in the Western world started becoming more and more therapeutic, used for healing purposes, then this role of Ayurveda started becoming more and more prominent. A lot of people who are practitioners of yoga are looking towards Ayurveda, looking forward to learning Ayurveda to complement and enhance their yoga practices. And thus we find a huge number of students who are coming to India to learn this science of Ayurveda, as well as a lot of Ayurvedic schools opening up in different parts of the world. Ayurveda has come a long way since, and today it is huge world phenomenon and growing with every passing day. We find world conventions and world congresses happening. There was the World Ayurveda Conference held in Pune in 2012. There is now the Global Festival of Ayurveda, which is about to take place on the 20th of February in Cochin in Kerala. There are also huge seminars taking place internationally. The World Ayurvedic Congress in Canada in 2012, and just in December 2013 there was the AYUCON, which was a huge Ayurvedic conference held in the Middle East in Dubai. These are international developments that are taking place, showing that a lot of people across the world are coming together, integrating to understand and propagate this science of Ayurveda. And also there are different organizations being formed. For example, in Europe you have the EURAMA, which is the European Association of Ayurvedic Practitioners. In the United States you have the NAMA, which is the National Ayurvedic Medical Association. In Australia you have the AAA, that is the Australian Ayurvedic Association, which was formed as early as 1988, and all these associations are holding national conferences in their own countries every year. So this actually tells us very loudly that Ayurveda is poised to become a real force in healing, in health and wellness in the world in the time to come. Before we conclude this section, I would like to bring your attention to a very interesting topic called as the myths about Ayurveda. There are a lot of misconceptions that people have when they hear the name Ayurveda. For example, one thing is, when we hear Ayurveda, we feel that it is the last option to go to. There is a general trend, there is a general belief among people that if I have a problem and I try everything else and nothing is working, and then I go to Ayurveda. My question to you is, if Ayurveda is so powerful that it can take care of health problems which cannot be taken care of by any other system, should it not be the first option in case of health and wellness? Why should we go to another system and then fail and then come to Ayurveda to get cured? Why not take it as the first option? So that is the first misconception. And unfortunately, due to this reason, although Ayurveda is so powerful, able to provide sustainable remedies, due to the disease condition being so much progressed over a period of time while the person is trying out different therapies, by the time they come to Ayurveda, the disease condition has progressed so much that it becomes so difficult for Ayurveda also to help them. So this is the first myth that has to be broken, that Ayurveda is not something to be tried out as a last option. Ayurveda is something to be tried out as a first option. The second is that Ayurveda takes a long time to heal. Is this true? No, this is not true. Again, it is due to the same reason. The earlier we start with Ayurveda, the faster it will heal. But if the body has already progressed, the disease condition has progressed and come to a more severe condition, naturally we can expect that any system of medicine, it will take a longer time for that disease to heal. The third is Ayurveda against modern medicine? Absolutely not. Modern medicine has a different approach and Ayurveda has a different approach. In fact, both of them can complement each other very well. I have had many patients asking me, is it possible to simultaneously take Ayurvedic treatments while I am on allopathic treatments? And the answer is an absolute yes. There is no harm at all in supplementing your allopathic medicines with Ayurvedic medicines, because both of them act in different ways and they will enhance each other, help each other to bring you a more holistic feeling of health and well-being. The next is that, is Ayurveda practical? Do we put too many restrictions? This is what sometimes people think, that Ayurveda has too many restrictions and it is not possible for me to follow. Just yesterday I was speaking with a young girl who was admitted in the hospital for the third time with acute pancreatitis, that is inflammation of the pancreas. And I was telling her that, in order to avoid this, you have to stop drinking, fizzy, carbonated cold drinks. You have to stop eating certain kind of fried, oily, heavy foods because your digestion is not so strong, it is compromised. But she was finding it so hard to accept. This is what people generally describe as too many restrictions. Now, if we want a system which will not put any restriction upon us, or which will not tell us to avoid the thing that is actually causing our disease, that is not a very right thing. Naturally, there will be some things which causing these illnesses or will aggravate our health condition, and those things need to be restricted. These are not actually restrictions, these are actually regulative principles of freedom which actually free us from this suffering and illness. We need to understand that. And the next point is that Ayurveda is very expensive. Is it expensive? It becomes expensive only when we allow the disease to progress to a very advanced stage. And that is exactly what we are trying to do here, to reduce the expense of Ayurveda by bringing in the preventive aspect of healing. In fact, the preventive methods of Ayurveda are so simple, so inexpensive, so practical. And also, in addition to that, there is a whole array, a whole list of home remedies which are there in Ayurveda. In fact, the science of Ayurveda begins in our own kitchen. All the herbs like turmeric and ginger and cumin and mustard and all these different herbs which are present in our kitchen, if we learn how to use them effectively, we can actually prevent advanced diseases at a very early stage. So that becomes very, very inexpensive. So the preventive aspect of Ayurveda is not expensive at all. It's only when we allow it to progress to a very advanced stage and we need elaborate treatments and different kind of medicinal herbs and oils and all that kind of things, when it actually becomes a little more expensive. And is that not true with modern medicine as well? If I need to go in for a heart surgery, if I need to go in for a knee replacement, that's also very expensive. So that is because the stage of the disease has gone beyond the simple initial stage to a more complicated stage. And the last point about Ayurveda, about the myths of Ayurveda, is that Ayurveda is very complicated and difficult to understand. My dear friend, let me tell you that there is nothing more simple and easy and natural as Ayurveda. The fundamental concepts of Ayurveda, as you will learn as we go ahead in this course, you will be amazed to find that these principles are so simple to understand. And it's not about the Sanskrit words or the Sanskrit jargons. It's all about understanding the simple concepts like what is hot, what is cold, what is wet, what is dry, what is heavy, what is light. Understanding these simple things and being able to make our choices to balance those things in our life. That is the simplest way by which we can ever think of achieving complete optimal health and wellness in our life. So Ayurveda is absolutely not complicated. It is very simple, very easy to understand. It is the health science meant for the common man. There is a lot of preventive solutions, there are a lot of home remedies. It is very inexpensive, and if we learn this whole science which we are going to teach you in the course as we go ahead, you will find that this method of this way of life, this way of eating, this way of living has actually created a health revolution and can bring about the best possible option of sustainable health in our life and everybody else.
Mm-hmm.